Senator Brophy.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Senator Johnson, thank you so much for coming down and having the courage of your convictions to state why it is that you believe this bill is the appropriate course for the people of the state of Colorado. I hope I can earn your no vote. For those of you who don't know, the senator was talking about an essay that I had shared with him Friday night by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. Brilliant man. An essay is called Of Sheep, Wolves, and Sheepdogs. And if any of you want it, I have it on my iPad. You can read it or I can email it to you. It is telling. It tells you a lot about the kind of people that you will find who rush to the sound of the gunfire. I don't know if I qualify, but I'd like to think that I do. And we've heard that there are in the hundreds of millions of detachable magazines, in the mid-tens of millions of standard capacity 30-round magazines in existence in this country. We heard a discussion about whether or not it'd be appropriate to have RPGs or M1 Abram tanks or Black Hawk helicopters. Well, let me remind you on the latter three there is, as far as I know, no example of criminal use of that type of weaponry in this country, so it's a fair argument to say that we don't need to have those under the Second Amendment. We could have that discussion at some point if you really wanted to. But we know that the wolves use standard capacity 30-round magazines. We know that. And this bill denies to the sheepdogs the opportunity to meet the wolves with the same amount of force, tying an arm behind the back of the men that rush to the sound of danger instead of giving them equal footing. That is the wrong way to go. You know, one of the greatest things that the founding fathers of this country gave us, besides the founding documents, the Constitution that sets the framework of this country, the Bill of Rights that protects our rights, is they took the time to, in the Federalist Papers and in other writings, explain to us what these natural rights mean that the senator from Grand Junction was talking about. As a person, you have the right to protect yourself and your family and your property against those who want to do you harm or take it from you. That's a natural right. You have that as individuals. You're born with it, and that's what it means to have a natural right that comes from nature's God. And the founding fathers told us that it was unacceptable for a government to take that natural right away from you without due process. This doesn't constitute what they consider due process. That was a court of law. When you have proven that you no longer deserve that right or can't be trusted with it. Well, the other founding fathers wrote about this, saying that it wasn't just that you had the right to protect yourself, your family, and your property. You actually have a duty. I think it was Joe Story who wrote that. You have a duty to protect your family. And so while the other senators who said this bill would only affect law-abiding citizens because the wolves, the hollow men, the criminals wouldn't follow this law, they would still find a way to access those 30-some-odd million standard capacity rifle magazines or 150-some-odd million detachable magazines. You know they will. They do it all the time. They do it now, illegally in many cases. It puts the rest of us into a difficult position. And I do not like saying this, but I'm going to tell you right now. I will not obey this law.
No public displays. This is a legislative hearing, not a rally.
Someday, when I need one, or when my son needs one, a standard capacity Magpul magazine, a company that you guys are running out of the state of Colorado, someday I will hop in my Prius and I will drive to Sidney, Nebraska to the Cabela's store, and I will buy what I or he needs to be the sheepdog of the family, to protect against the wolves. I imagine when I get up there, I will see a lot of Colorado license plates, because I really doubt that very many people are going to be willing to give up their right and to forego their duty to protect their families and their property against the wolves. We talked a lot on Friday about the economic consequences of this, but the personal consequence of this legislation is that I will willfully and purposefully and civilly disobey this law. Vote no.
Senator Sheffel.